This episode of I Work for Him is brought to you by SaferNet, online at safernet.com.
Every day in America, more than 3,000 ministries are serving workplace believers by discipling Christ followers to live out their faith in their work. However, most of these organizations are working on their own, often recreating the wheel from their limited resources because they don't know there are others out there doing exactly the same thing.
I Work for Him has a vision to document the tapestry of the faith and work movement to enable and facilitate selfless kingdom collaboration across the country and bring harmony to the body of Christ in the workplace.
For more than a decade, God has been weaving the stories of workplace believers and the work of so many faith and work ministries into I Work for Him. He's been entwining us with these organizations so that you, too, can be a part of this great tapestry.
He's been connecting us in order to connect you.
Just like a tapestry, the work is sometimes messy and takes time. But in the end, a beautiful, unified picture emerges, more incredible than we could ever imagine. Please be a part of that mission. You've tuned into I Work for Him, the voice of collaboration for the faith and work movement. I'm your host, Jim Brangenberg. Our mission is to inspire every workplace believer to recognize their workplace as their ministry place, where they work with God every day. What can that look like in your workplace? Let's find out right now. Not all of us will have this opportunity, but our guest today could have retired to experience the American dream of retirement, but she chose a different path. She chose to eliminate the job that was causing her stress, and she moved her skills to a kingdom company with a kingdom purpose so that her paid work legacy would end on a high note. Is this for everyone? Obviously not, but for Sue Wilson, the choice was a no-brainer. Sue Wilson is a longtime member of the I Work for Him Board of Directors and serves as our treasurer. Sue's here today to share her story and encourage all of us to never give up. She's also my sister. Sue Wilson, welcome back to I Work for Him.
Well, thank you.
I call her my squeezy sister. I call her many other things, but some of them will not go published today. All right. But she's my favorite sister.
And your only sister.
Oh, that. All right. So, Sue, you could have retired. Why didn't you just check out and live the retirement dream?
You know, I had a passion that I wasn't done yet, that God had more for me, and that I wasn't ready to just slow down and maybe change lanes and do something different. I feel like I am finally at a point in my career where I am ready to really give back, that I am passionate about the people part of what I do every day and less passionate about the technical aspects that I've been doing for 40 plus years now.
Oh, my, 40 plus years. You must be very old. All right.
Older than you.
You are. All right. So you've been a CFO for a ton of years. Was it obvious that God equipped you for this? Or did this just something you happened upon?
You know, I'm a CFO, and I loved accounting from the time I was in, my senior year of high school. And
kind of a sickness.
Yeah, well, it is. But what I will tell you is that God, if I look in the rearview mirror, God's path has been deliberate, it's been orchestrated, and I can see all the different places He's placed me and why He's placed me there, because I think each one prepared me for the next one. There's skills that I've learned. There's been parts of me that He's tenderized. There's been other parts that He's made tougher. There's parts that He's opened my eyes to some things that I needed to know and be a little bit more skeptical about, and others where He's made me more passionate.
And it's obvious. You've had a lot of fun doing a lot of different things. We even got a chance to work together for 4 years when you were helping be the CFO of a bank, and I merged my agency with that bank. That was kind of fun working side by side for 4 years.
It was.
You've worked for banks. You even helped start a bank. You've worked for Christian colleges. You've worked in the construction world. You've worked in the water business, the water purification business. What's the common thing you have witnessed at all of your past jobs, both good and bad? What have you seen, industry standards or unstandards?
I think the one common really good thing is that there's some amazing people to work with every day. There's people that love what they do, that love life, that love doing a good job, that like to have a part of something, a success. And there's also a lot of people who own businesses that are passionate about what they do, and they like to share it with their company staff. And that's been really the fun part of it, is to just breathe into some of those owners and those staff people and watch them kind of just create and grow and mature. I think the tough part is that every business is run by people, and people are complicated, and people will hurt you, and people will step over you and step on you. And some of it's deliberate and some of it's not. And so that's consistent. It doesn't matter whether it's a kingdom business or not, just so you know. That is something that's just there, that you, as you mature in your career, you'll come to recognize, and you'll also come to appreciate the fact that you know more and you can handle it a little bit better, and you can actually make it better.
You've worked for some Christians and you've worked for some pre-Christians. Are believers, well, I'm going to say you've worked for some Christians and some pre-believers. Mm-hmm. What have you seen, even before we started I Work for Him 12 years ago, what have you seen pretty typical amongst corporate Christians?
Ooh, lots of things. Some of them really understand what it means to be a Christian running a business, and they really give their business up to the Lord, and they really just focus on how can I praise the Lord, honor the Lord in everything I do. And others are still very focused on the business side, and they want to make a buck. And then but they use those dollars to give to ministries and to give away. So I've seen Christians and Christ followers and pre-Christians have a heart for ministry and for God, and they handle it a little differently. Some of them are very people-focused, some of them are very business-focused, but they do give, and they give very generously. They're very philanthropic.
Wow, I mean, that was a totally glass half full, I mean, really half full kind of an answer. But I also know you've worked for some Christians who maybe hadn't figured out that God wanted to be involved in their work.
Mm-hmm, I have. And that's frustrating, because they will vocalize the fact that they're a Christian or a Christ follower, but they don't actually act that way. They don't act that way. They act like it's their money. They did it. God didn't have any part of it. And then when you call them out on it, it gets to be a little tense. But I also feel like those were places where God placed me to plant seeds and to convict their hearts and to show them what it looks like from the other side. And, you know, some of those conversations have been tough, but the Lord has placed me in some really good opportunities where I've gotten to pray with them and actually expose some of what it looks like in appearance to all the people that are working underneath of them.
And I think here's something that would have been really helpful for you when you're working in the Minneapolis area, is to join a local Christian Chamber of Commerce. Did you know there's one coming to Minneapolis?
I did hear that, because you told me.
That's right. So if you're listening today and you want to do business with people who share your values, the U.S. Christian Chamber connects you to a national network of faith-driven businesses committed to excellence and ethics. Join the movement today, uschristianchamber.com. And through your membership in the U.S. Christian Chamber, you can get connected to a whole bunch of local Christian chambers. I think there's now 21 across the country, where you can get connected locally and touch and talk to people there locally, so you can network nationally and locally all at the same time. uschristianchamber.com. All right, so when you decided to leave your last job, what were you looking for in a new position?
First of all, I was looking for a little bit of peace, because I had had a really tumultuous year. And
it's also why she lives in Minnesota. I live in Missouri, because sometimes I cause her to lose her peace.
No, not you.
Oh, not me.
Not you. But I think that I wanted to find a place where I could take everything I had learned, all my technical skills, and really breathe into that next gen, to find that next generation of leaders that were going to replace me when I retire and try to do some other kinds of ministries, and that I could equip them, that I could teach, that I could coach, that I could mentor. So for me, this position I'm in right now, I just have finished building out a team. I started with one person, now I have 6. And I have that right team. I have a group of people who are coachable, that want to grow, that are super excited about what I'm training them on and giving them big picture. And I share information that I think my bosses are a little bit surprised I share. But I said, no, for them to see the whole picture, for them to understand why we do what we do every day and some of the things that they might take over, they got to know it. And so they're having fun. They like the fact that I'm investing in
What
them.
does that look like, accountants and CPAs having fun? Does that mean we have colored spreadsheets, or do we get our calculators out and have calculator races, or?
No,
This is-
actually, we
this
just
is the little
we read
brother
numbers.
harassing her.
We need read numbers between the lines.
Oh, so we do have spreadsheet playing. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. But God got you this job. And yes, if you're listening, you're like, gosh, Jim, you're really being hard on your guest. She's my sister. All of my life, she's been my sister. It's just part of the love. All right. But God did something really cool on how you found this job.
So I had decided to just do a random search, and this is like a miracle story. So listen in. I was just doing a search, and I said, Minnesota CFO jobs available. And I found a list, and I was going through the list, and I found this job. It was out there, and it combined my banking background, which was about 30 years of my career, and the things that I'd been doing. And it was a business that would allow me to work remotely, and it was a business that said they were faith-based. And I thought, this is interesting. Send it over to my husband, who's sitting in the other reclining chair. He says,
Because you couldn't walk over there with your
we
phone.
were right next to each other.
Okay.
But anyway, so he said, this looks good. Why don't you actually apply? So I sat down right away, applied, sent a cover letter, and it went to a search firm. And I got an immediate reply back that said, hey, got everything from you. You'll hear from us in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I thought, okay, good. At least I know they got it. So the next morning, I got a phone call. And the phone call was from the recruiter. And the recruiter said, hey, very interested. Love your resume. When can we talk? And then we set up a time to talk. I actually drove out of the parking lot from my current job and did this at McDonald's in the parking lot. And her first question was, I have to ask you, where did you get the job posting? And I said, well, what do you mean? I found it on the internet. She said, well, that job wasn't posted anymore. We had gone through the process to do a search. We had found 2 people. We had brought them in. We had decided to offer someone a job. They didn't accept it. And we were just wrestling with, how are we going to repost the job? What's it going to look like? What are we going to tweak? It wasn't posted. It hadn't been posted for almost a month. And so that was kind of my miracle, because when I went back out to try to find it again after I heard that, I couldn't find it. So God placed that
Things that
ad
make you go.
in front of me. Fun story, isn't it?
Just a coincidence, I'm sure. All right. So, and you love your new job.
I love it.
Yes, you do. All right. So, but here, Dr. Jim, the skeptical one here on the I Work for Him podcast, when someone tells you they're running a company according to biblical principles, how do you make sure they're telling the truth before you sign the dotted line and take the job? How do you make sure?
Yeah. That was actually a fun thing for me this time, because I'm a little smarter than I was 35 or 40 years ago. So I had some questions that I really needed to ask that were really about them personally, what they believed about how they treat people. I asked them, where do you give your money? Where do you actually invest financially? I asked them about what are the tough things that you've done to shape this business so it is truly faith-based? And how are you investing in the clients, which we have investors, we have residents, we have manufacturing employees. So we have a whole bunch of different constituents or stakeholder groups. And so I wanted examples. What are you doing in each of these areas to love on them and to actually show them who Christ is? And so we had some really good conversations, really good.
So, well, what's the difference? Because you've had some companies you've worked for that said they were run on biblical principles, even a Christian college. But what's the difference between a company or an organization run on biblical principles and an actual kingdom company?
A kingdom company is one that's actually focused on the Great Commission, to go and make disciples, to actually share who Christ is and to bring people to Christ, to a knowing knowledge of Christ. So you can have lots of values and principles that help you shape a business and make it a good business, a place that you want to work. But if you also have a biblical principle-based company that believes in the kingdom expansion, they are investing in people. My current boss says it this way: we invest in people through work. So he's literally focused on the people side, but we do it while we work.
Well, and what's great is what you're doing is it part of really a kingdom company. A biblical company is going to have good character. They're going to talk about things. They are going to lead people to Christ. But a kingdom company also makes sure that everybody they're impacting is flourishing by what they're doing, whether those people believe in Christ or not. And a kingdom company makes their neighbors better off. And I really think that's the company you're working for now, is making sure it's making the neighbors better off.
It certainly is. And I will tell you that we have lots of people who aren't Christians that work with us, but we pray with them and we talk about Christ. We have the opportunity to really invest in them. And some of them, I think, are really, really close, and others that just love the gratitude and the expression of love and how we treat each other, even when we disagree. And they admire that, and they feel peace. So some people just like the work environment that it creates, and others truly are curious.
Christians that disagree?
Yeah.
Weird. All right. So what do you do when you disagree? Do you guys actually have to work it out? Do you have a company rule that says if you have a disagreement with somebody, you have to work it out?
We do. I mean, we follow the biblical principle of one-on-one confrontation, because confrontation is actually good to go through the problem. And then if it's not resolved, then you do that small group on one. And then usually by then it's resolved, because people understand that accountability and confrontation and good communication are really keys.
And they're making sure they don't want to go to 2-on-1 and everybody on one. They don't want that.
They don't want that.
No. All right. So, I want to make sure that I know that, have you guys as an organization checked out SaferNet yet?
We actually have, and we're working on some things right now.
All right. SaferNet.com, an organization that I work for and partners with, and we've got SaferNet on every one of our devices, our phones, our tablets, our laptops, our desktops. SaferNet helps keep us safe. They provide a VPN. They provide a web filter service that keeps out the junk. They provide antivirus. And basically, the greatest thing is if you get an email and you're silly enough to click on that link, even though you're not quite sure where the link is going to go, SaferNet keeps you from going places that you shouldn't go. SaferNet.com, it is reasonably priced. I mean, a few dollars per unit per month, and it follows you everywhere you go. It's amazing. Get it on your devices now. Make sure you tell them that I work for him sent you. SaferNet.com. So there are people listening today who are in their potential retirement years. Like the ones you're in. Retirement years.
You're close. Just remember it.
Oh, but I'm 5 years behind you. All right. Why should they consider not retiring, but planting themselves somewhere else where they can make a difference with a purpose?
I will tell you that, first of all, something that my little brother taught me is that really retirement isn't biblical. There's nobody in the Bible that just sat on their laurels after 67 years of life. And the truth is...
65 before they changed Social Security years.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right.
But the truth is that we are at a point in our lives where we are fully equipped to continue to breathe new life and new energy and new ideas into other people, and to help equip them to be that next generation of leaders in both Christian organizations and out in the workplace. And I just know that every one of us, God says, do more. The Great Commission doesn't say, do this until you're 65, or stop doing this when you get the first aches in your hips. So I just know that that's what he wants us doing. He wants us to be out with people. He made us and designed us to be in relationship with people, not to set ourselves aside because we have a well-earned and well-deserved retirement, because we don't deserve that. We have been equipped by God to continue to breathe into other people, our families, our friends, our churches, our communities, and workplaces, because most people we will see at the workplace will never actually go through the doors of a church. So where do we need to be? Where the people are, not where the people aren't.
That well-deserved retirement. I deserve it. We heard that a few times.
A few times.
Our father was really, I deserve that. And most of the time he's talking about pie. But, okay, I can't wait to hear more about this adventure. You're how many months into this new job are you now?
I am 8 months in.
8 months in. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see where it goes, 4 or 5 years from now. But it's exciting to see that the job has really energized and motivated you. As a Christian working woman who's had all these years of experience and who decided, I'm not going to retire, I'm going to reinvest myself into the next generation. Anything else you want to share with the audience today before we go?
We've been talking about kingdom businesses and principles, biblical principles in businesses. But what I want you guys to understand is that every business, whether it's kingdom-oriented or not, has sinful, broken people in that business. So don't go into a business thinking that you can fix them, but go into the business understanding that you're there for a purpose and that God will use you if you allow yourself to be used. And just be surprised. Usually when I walk in, that's what I pray for the day. Lord, let me know how you want me to be used today. Show me where you want me.
When you walk in, that's when you go to the office. What about when you walk into your home office?
I do the same thing.
Okay.
As I'm turning my computers on, I say, okay, Lord, what do you got for me today? Where do I need to be? Who do I need to be watching for?
Sue Wilson, thanks for coming back on I Work For Him today. That's what you're supposed to say. You're welcome.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
All right, good deal. All right. You've been listening to I Work For Him with your host, Jim Brangenberg. I'm a Christ follower. My workplace, it's my mission field, but ultimately, I work for Him.
This episode of I Work For Him is brought to you by SaferNet, online at safernet.com.
World War III started on your computer when Al Gore unleashed the internet in 1994. Want to fortify your business against cyber attacks? SaferNet VPN is the answer. Our easy-to-use cybersecurity app protects your enterprise on all fronts. Plus, secure your family's online journey with powerful internet filters. Embrace simple yet robust cybersecurity with SaferNet VPN now. Get secured now. Sign up at safernet.com. That's safernet.com.
Did you know that God has a calling on your life? It's true. He's called you to bring Jesus to the world. For some, that may look like a pulpit or a foreign mission field, but for most of us, it looks like a construction site, a cubicle, a hospital, or a classroom. Wherever it is that you work, live, volunteer, and invest, that is your mission field. To learn more about integrating your faith into your work and retirement, check out our books, I Work For Him, She Works For Him, and I Retire For Him, by going to iworkforhim.com/bookstore.
Thanks for listening to the I Work For Him podcast with your hosts, Jim and Martha Brangenberg. Please visit iworkforhim.com to learn more about connecting your faith and work, to join the I Work For Him Nation, or subscribe to our weekly blog. You can also follow us on social media at I Work For Him to stay up to date and meet our guests. If today's message spoke to you, please subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast platform. Your review will launch more workplace missionaries across America. That's at I Work For Him and online at iworkforhim.com. I work, the number 4, him.com.